release me from my winter hell. I've got candles and candy, I can be your daddy if you only let me creep into your prison cell. Hey baby, can you tell I'm not a criminal? Your choice is seminal. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true. Just speak low, stand in your row, try not to show this life's a show. Try not to glow way down below. Oh, it's a lot of woe, and that's not a place where you would like to go. I've got cigarettes and brandy, which could come in handy if you just help me loosen up my hand grenades fuse. Baby, don't refuse my truth, but it's up to you not to choose. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true, true,
I gotta talk. You be quiet. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys? Okay, I'm glad to see everybody, but they've already started testimony. Jeffrey Lacoste is on the stand. And I just want to let you guys know what the schedule is going to be like. I have Chicky Nuggy Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, what I'm going to do is I'll stream until the lunch break. I'll come back this evening and I will do a recap of the morning and the afternoon, everything we missed, because streaming for 8 hours when I have the little nuggie, it means I can't really play with her or anything during the day, and I don't want to do that. So that's and plus I did a poll on the on my community tab, and it was like 50-50 almost. Really, it was pretty close for those who want the live stream all day, and then for those who want the recaps at night. And so I think this is a good compromise for everybody. Let me know what you think in the chat. We're going to get started right now. Let me hit play, and then we will be underway. Donna is wearing the same outfit she had on yesterday. I just want to point that out.
We are going to resume with the state's case once again this morning. Everyone does have their notepads and pens in their seats. All right. And for the record, the jurors have responded in the affirmative. Ms. Kappelman, you may call your next witness.
State calls Jeff Lacasse.
Please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
You may take your seat. You may inquire when you're ready, state.
Sir, please introduce yourself and spell your name.
I'm Jeffrey Lacasse, pardon me, Jeffrey Lacasse.
How are you employed?
I'm an associate professor at Florida State University.
How long have you been at FSU?
Since 2013, so 11 years now, 12 years now.
Have you always lived here in Tallahassee?
I was here from 2000 to 2008 pursuing my doctorate, and I went to Arizona State for 5 years, and I came back in the fall of 2013 when all this happened.
Okay. And back in that time frame, did you have a relationship with Wendy Adelson?
I did.
When did that relationship begin?
We started dating in late September of 2013.
Okay. What was the nature of the relationship?
At first, it was very casual. We weren't exclusive. After Halloween, things started to accelerate. That's the fall of 2013. And then by late February, early March, we were an exclusive couple.
When did the relationship end?
It's a little tricky, but I would mark it at around July 14th,
Okay,
2014.
Around the time of the homicide or shortly before?
Right before, yes.
During the time that you were dating Wendy Adelson, did you become aware of her divorce
I did.
and the litigation surrounding the divorce and subsequent to the divorce? Were you familiar with that as well?
Yes, it was a constant topic of conversation.
Were you aware that it was an unusually difficult or nasty divorce?
I was.
And during the time that you were dating her, were you aware that litigation was still pending during that time frame?
Yes.
Was there a specific item of litigation that was a common topic during the time you were dating Mrs. Adelson?
Well, as far as what she discussed, there were multiple. The relocation motion had just been denied a couple months before we started dating, so that was still very much on Wendy's mind. That came up a lot. Then there were the custody issues with the kids, of course.
Okay. Did you know Dan Markel?
I met him briefly a couple of times.
Was that in the context of you being the new boyfriend and exchange of the kids kind of
Exactly. Picking up the kids, swimming lessons one time. Never spoke to him for more than 2 or 3 minutes.
The interaction that you did have with him, were those cordial?
It was polite and cordial.
Did you have any issues with him other than things that Wendy was telling you?
I sort of adopted the Adelson family narrative. I kind of believed what Wendy was telling me. And Wendy and I also had mutual friends from when I was here before, and they had sort of adopted that narrative as well. So I didn't have a personal beef with Dan Markel, but I did believe sort of the Adelson family story about Dan Markel.
Which is that he was making it very difficult for Wendy. He was a difficult person.
Yes.
If you know, did Wendy Adelson want to relocate to South Florida?
Yes, she did, very badly.
And why did she want to relocate to South Florida?
She preferred to be down there with her family. She also hated Tallahassee. That's in my original, police statements. It was almost a daily topic of conversation how much she disliked Tallahassee. So was Bush. She really disliked Tallahassee. She preferred to be in Miami. On our second date, she broke into tears talking about relocation and abruptly ended the date. I mean, it was still very visceral, very important to her.
All right, and that was shortly after the relocation had been denied, is that right?
Yeah, that would have been last week of September, so a couple months after. It was fresh then, yeah.
Okay, and were you specifically familiar during that time with the litigation seeking to limit Donna Adelson's exposure to the kids, or to have her be supervised in the presence of the kids because Dan was alleging that she had made disparaging remarks about him to the children?
Yes, I was aware of that.
How did you become aware of that?
Oh, multiple ways. Wendy talking about it. And it's hard to remember which exact emails and motions I was forwarded. But definitely Wendy's talking about it for sure. And perhaps I was sent court materials.
Okay, were you also shown things in her presence?
Yes.
All right, and if you know, did Wendy take that particular filing seriously? Was she upset about that or worried about that?
Yes, every time there was a motion, they took it very seriously, and I'd reported to the police that it was disruptive on the relationship because every time something was filed, dates would get canceled, Wendy would be in a mood, Wendy would be upset, so.
When you say they took it seriously, who are you referencing?
The entire family, but Wendy was the person I was having contact with.
Right.
But it was known to me that the whole family was upset.
Okay, and how do you deduce that it's a they and not just a Wendy? Is she in communication with the family? Is she relaying that to you? How do you know that?
For multiple.
Also speculation and opinion.
Overruled. He may testify as to his personal knowledge. You're not to repeat, however, what anyone said out of court, Mr. Lacaz.
Sure. So conversations with Wendy, which were consistent, and also observing the family dynamic, which was, I described to police as a family without boundaries, that sort of not having just a shared family life than your own.
Opinion.
Sustained as to opinion.
All right, so in your observations, let's keep it specific to Donna, if you
Yes.
don't mind. Was Donna Adelson very involved in her daughter's life?
Yes, absolutely.
Was she very involved in her daughter's divorce litigation?
Yes.
And I say divorce, I know the divorce is already final, I'm
Yeah.
referencing the subsequent litigation as well.
Yes.
During the time that you were in a relationship with Wendy, did you have the occasion to meet her family?
I did.
When was that?
I met Donna, I met her multiple times, but Wendy had me come over to her house and had me have dinner with Donna in mid-November. So sat down and had dinner with Donna. There's about 6 or 7 other occasions that we met and or interacted. Me picking up Wendy to go on a date, and the parents would be in the living room. We went to a Hanukkah party together. We went to the circus together. Wendy's parents would use Wendy's van to transport the kids, so I would come pick Wendy up from the house to bring her to work because the parents needed the car. I met Charlie in March when I stayed with him, so that's some of the interactions.
All right. And when you met Donna here in Tallahassee, was Harvey always there as well, or would sometimes be
I don't
Donna
believe Harvey was
alone?
there. I don't believe Harvey was there that time, but he was there other times.
So did it appear to you that Donna was frequently in Tallahassee?
Donna was definitely frequently in Tallahassee between September and early May. After that, I'm not aware of her being in Tallahassee. Well, I think she was in Tallahassee quickly once or twice after that, but in terms of extended trips, there's an awful lot of moms here for a while going on between September and late April, early May.
And when Donna was here in town staying with Wendy, what was the purpose of the visits, if you know?
I think multiple purposes. The children was what almost everything revolved around, so spending time with the kids would be the main purpose that I was aware of.
All right. And you said you met Charlie. Where did you meet him?
Wendy and I went to, Wendy and I went to alternative spring break in Immokalee, Florida for spring break 2014. After we were done with that field trip of sorts, we went and stayed with Charlie at his house for one night. So I spent one evening with Charlie Adelson.
All right. And did you interact at all with Donna and or Harvey on that trip?
No, they didn't attend. We didn't go there.
Did you ever spend time with Donna Adelson in South Florida?
No,
All right, so the only times you met her were here in Tallahassee.
that's correct.
What were your interactions with Donna Adelson like?
Just a few that I recall. Sometimes they were really quick because I was just picking Wendy up. When we had dinner, we talked for maybe 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, but it was pretty quick, and just getting to know the girl who I'm interested in, her mom, so it's just that kind of thing. She excused herself from the table after like maybe 10, 12 minutes, something like that. And so
Was that a conversation where it was just the two of you seated at the table?
it was Wendy, myself, and Donna.
Okay.
Just a getting to know you type thing. Just
Okay.
ended fairly quickly.
What about Katherine Magbanua? Did you ever have an occasion to meet her?
I did. She was at the dinner at Yardbird that myself, Wendy Adelson, Katie, and Charlie were at. Yeah,
All right, and that was the night that you spent in South Florida where you met Charlie.
correct.
Was that the only time you ever met Charlie?
Only time I ever met Charlie.
Okay. And do you know the date of that visit?
I believe that's March 11th, 2014.
And how was Katherine Magbanua related to the Adelson family?
She was Charlie's new girlfriend at that dinner, is how I knew her.
Was it your impression or knowledge that this was the first meeting between Wendy Adelson and Katherine Magbanua?
That was my impression. There was a lot of getting to know you talk type stuff.
All right, at the dinner table, did the subject of Dan Markel come up?
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of specifics, but I think it came up kind of briefly. There was a lot of talk about Wendy's book. I remember that part.
And at the dinner table, did Katherine Magbanua's ex come up at all?
Yes.
Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, that stood out because Katie mentioned that she had her children's father was always getting in trouble with the police and had a violent criminal record. I'm paraphrasing, but it was, it sounded like not parking tickets. It sounded pretty bad, and it stuck in my memory for that reason.
What happened after dinner?
We went back to Charlie's house on Well Harbor.
All right, and did Katherine Magbanua go back to Charlie's house as well?
No.
All right, so at that time, it would be just the three of you, Wendy, and Charlie?
And Charlie's then roommate, Dr. Jerome Obed.
Okay. And can you describe the residence there?
Yeah, I thought it was a nice house. Had a hot tub, had a pool.
Okay. Did you get in the hot tub that night?
We did get in the hot tub for a while.
Who all was in the hot tub?
Myself, Charlie, Wendy, and Dr. Obed at some points. And people were in and out, but those were the four that were in the hot tub.
And during that time, did Charlie Adelson make some comments against Dan Markel?
Yes, he didn't like Danny. That I might be understating it. Yeah,
Is that the most you can remember? Was the gist was that he didn't like him?
I'm not downloading that exact quote at this moment. I remember he was fired up. It wasn't just like, I don't like Danny. It was maybe a overprotective brother anger sort of vibe to it.
Okay. And did he make some other comment about wrong side of the tracks or
Yeah.
something?
He's kind of
Your Honor, hearsay?
Please approach.
Sorry about that, you guys. I had to make Chicky Nuggies breakfast. Just so you guys know, all right, it is my opinion that Jeffrey Lacasse up here was intended to be a distraction for law enforcement. I don't think she was at all serious about Homeboy. I don't think she thought he was endgame. I think he was convenient. That's it. That's all. And I think that Jeffrey Lacasse realized it fairly quickly after I'm not a confrontational person. So the email was me breaking up without actually saying the words breaking up. Wendy with an I. Nobody believes. Yes, Donna is wearing the same outfit. There was something you said it. Violet said, "What is so bad about Tallahassee? I've never been. I've never been to Tallahassee either. I know it is the capital of Florida. Um, I I don't know. I don't know what's so bad about Tallahassee. I would imagine that the residents of Tallahassee, if I'm on the jury and I'm a resident of Tallahassee, I'm going to get a little offended about all this Tallahassee sucks talk. Okay, I'd be upset. Let me make sure I said that very clearly. Tallahassee ain't no good talk.
Objection
There you
is
go.
overruled. You may
This-
continue with your line of inquiry, Ms.
Yikes.
Kappelman.
Sir, do you remember the statement that I was referencing?
Yes, I do. There was a couple of statements in the hot tub.
Okay.
One was about the fact that Charlie knew people on both sides of the tracks, that he hung out with professionals, dentists, doctors, et cetera. But he also knew, was familiar, had social contacts that were in the criminal element. And he's kind of bragging, and he kind of specifically mentioned Cuban neighborhoods as a place where you would find that criminal element.
I want to ask you about an incident involving, I think the context is assessing Wendy's oldest child for gifted placement. Do you
Yes.
know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, could you tell the jury, please?
Wendy was looking to get her older son tested to see if he was gifted to get him placed in school. This is spring 2014. And I was trying to put her in touch with some people that could do that. And we were talking about that, and she asked me when children develop autobiographical memory.
Is your training or profession such that you have some knowledge that you could offer on that topic?
Objection, Your Honor, he's not disclosed as an expert.
Stand, you'll need to establish a foundation as to why this testimony could be given by this individual, Ms. Kappelman.
I'm not offering it for its truth, Judge. It goes to Ms. Adelson's state of mind and motive.
Very well. As to that purpose, I will permit it. However, as to that limited issue only, can this be considered by the jury?
So, I mean, you're not an expert on children's autobiographical memories, are you?
Not really. That's in some of the textbooks I teach out of, but I think I can keep it out of the scientific realm and explain it commonsensically, which is how I responded to Wendy. Children at age 2 have amnesia, which most parents probably realize. Between 3 and 4, kids start to develop the ability to retain memories.
Object, this is expert testimony.
As to a specific thing that goes to the state of mind of the individual you are testifying about, Mr. Lacasse, you may speak. As to your knowledge of any literature or research on this matter, I do not need you to testify on that matter.
I mean, he's not wrong. Anybody that's raised kids knows this. Chicky Nuggy has turned 4 at the end of January, and she remembers things. We have conversations frequently about everything that she remembers about our time together from December of 2024 up until yesterday. Okay, so he's right about that. I think it's the way that he's testifying, the words that he's using, the order in which he's putting those words. If he would have said, I told her that children typically develop, 2-year-olds typically have amnesia, 3 to 4 is when they develop an autobiographical memory, that would be fine and probably above getting objected to, or at least the objection would be overruled. All right, let's keep going.
What is your profession? What is your background?
I'm a professor of social work. I teach mental health courses.
Okay. So Wendy asks you what?
She asked me when kids develop memory. At what age will kids start to remember what happened to them when they were a kid?
And what was your answer?
I think I said 5 or 6.
Again, this is expert testimony.
Overruled, Mr. Zalman, sit down. You may testify concerning not the truth of the matter asserted, but how this affected the state of mind of Wendy Adelson.
Your Honor, this has not been disclosed to the defense.
Please approach.
Oh, for the love of Pete. Are you kidding me? Okay, if that's the case, if this has not been disclosed to the defense, then why didn't you just say that in the beginning? Why didn't you just say in the beginning, none of this has been disclosed to the defense, if that were the case? And I can understand Judge Everett's irritation. And because, to be quite frank, I'm a little irritated with the defense as well. Like yesterday, okay? Now, I want to say that I was in Deep Dive True Crimes channel, Mentor Lawyer. He was replaying Wendy Adelson's testimony, and I actually had a really great chat in there. But I asked him why they did not, why the defense did not proffer Wendy Adelson yesterday, and he said his response was because they got all they wanted out of her on cross-examination. So I thought, okay, that's that's answered my question. Yes, Tess, I do. Tess says, do you remember on Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he says, I'm a loner daddy, a rebel. That's the same vibe Charlie's rebel gives to me. Yes, that it's equally as preposterous because he doesn't, he's like trying to come across as like some kind of
We'll take you to the jury room.
badass, but he's not. And
Mr. Lacoste, if you can step down.
hang on a minute. There's
Outside the court.
an issue.
Don't discuss your testimony.
Jeez, Lou, let me take this text off. See what's going on. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you guys all so much for being here. I'm so grateful you got there. There are a lot of places to watch this trial, and I appreciate you choosing me at the Ward Case Studies. Thank you so very, very much. All right, let's see what the dadgum issue is. Anyway, my point with the defense attorneys is it seems like they come out like they're going to be on fire, like, and then when it comes down to the actual in front of the jury part, it's like, wah, 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 just feels like a letdown. Yes, justified. I agree. Charlie is about as badass as a wet napkin. Absolutely. Like, he doesn't strike me as at all no. I would never be like, oh, this dude's going to totes protect me. I don't have anything to worry about, ever. Like, I'm totes safe with him. Hell no. Let me tell you what Charlie Adelson comes across to me as if, as the type of guy that if you're riding in the car with him and there happens to be, say, a little mota in the vehicle, he would hand you the mota and tell you to hide it. And you're getting pulled over. That's what he strikes me as. Here, you hide this. Put this under your seat. That's how he strikes me, frankly. Oh, I just love those glasses that woman is wearing. I just think I look at those glasses and all I think is, imagine the amount of people watching that I could do with those. Oh, you guys, you're so sweet. Thank you, Squirrel. Squirrel says, but you're the best. And Tracy says, we love you, Mama. I appreciate that, babe. Both of you guys, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, and Kelly says, There is no place that offers your sarcasm and passion, so there's no place I'd rather be. Thank you. I appreciate that. Correct. Yes, Tess. Tess says he'd be pushing women and children off the lifeboats on Titanic. Abso-freaking-lutely. What are we doing? What's going on here? The judge's face says it all. That's the same look I have on my face. What is happening here? Like, this is such a waste of time. I did. Violet says, did you hear after his conviction calls, he was saying the jury members were not smart enough to understand basic law, life, etc. No, Charlie. The thing of it is that's my stapler. Behavior is what got you caught up, bro. Okay? If you would have put rubber bands around that money, that's so commonplace. Most people do that, but that whole stapler was like your signature, bro. And that's what got you caught up because it's so odd. It's such an unusual thing to do. Who in the actual, first of all, you know what else I'd like to say? He stapled money. Donna washed money. And I feel like there should be some charges in there. You're not supposed to be doing that to the money in the United States. I mean, if you accidentally wash a dollar bill or money in your pocket, that's one thing. But taking out, $100,000 and washing $100,000, all the bills, every bill, and then stapling it, that's a crime, bro. A federal one at that. Not supposed to do that.
Kappelman, how long do you think it will take to find this portion of either the deposition or material provided in discovery?
Hang on, let me look.
Another 10 minutes, Judge?
Another 10 minutes? Don't you got a control F? All right.
Until 9:40.
All right, so I Googled it up and it says, yes, it can be illegal to staple money as federal law prohibits mutilating or defacing U.S. currency with the intent to render it unfit for reuse. While a casual staple on a single bill that doesn't hinder its usability might not lead to prosecution, intentionally stapling multiple bills together or in a way that makes them unspendable falls under the defacement statute and can result in fines or imprisonment. So there you go. We don't need to take a recess because we're behind. So let's skip forward. Let's see. Are they back? Still not back. We've caught up in real time now. Bummer. My mother-in-law, okay, so Tess says, I had a cop yell at me one time in downtown Minneapolis for throwing away pennies. He said it was a federal crime. My mother-in-law would answer you thusly. Pennies are money, and she's not wrong. Let me tell you something. When me and my husband were very first together, okay, and we were young, 18 and 21 years old, and we were broke because we had my oldest son, we had in November of 95. I turned 18 in January of 95. And we had my second son I should say, not mine. Sound like the seagulls from Finding Nemo. Mine. We had our second son in September of 1996. So we was broke, okay? We was poor, but we liked to smoke cigs. And I cannot tell you how many times we rolled pennies to buy cigs, okay? So pennies is money. I do too. Violet says, I still want the tea on Miguel. Me too. What is going on with Miguel? Who's Miguel? What was the deal with Miguel? What's up? What's up with Miguel? Who is he? Because the way that they made it sound on cross-examination was like Miguel was a Sancho. I'm not going to lie. That's how it came across. Like she was on a trip with Miguel. But then the answer after, Wendy pretended, I don't remember, she's very good. I don't remember. Did I say that? What? That was another thing. That's my very favorite thing about yesterday's testimony with Georgia Kappelman is that Georgia would be like, did you say such and such? And Wendy'd be like, I don't remember. I don't think so. And Georgia would say tab B, tab Q, tab JJ, tab FF. Yeah. So, but yeah, like then after more questions were asked, it came across more like it was a work trip and that maybe Miguel was either part of the FSU team that went, or he maybe was like there as a romantic partner, but it wasn't strictly a romantic trip. It's like what I noticed from the defense yesterday, and they did get me thinking, I'm not going to lie. They really got me thinking, not so much about the crime itself or really what Donna is charged with, because I actually think that they have the right person at that defense table charged with the right crime. But more the dynamics that exist in the Adelson family. For example, I think that it's I always thought, I should say, I always thought that I feel like I'm yelling. Let me just calm it down, take it back. It's way too early for the yelly voice. All right. I always believed that it was Donna controlling and manipulating Wendy. And I do think that for a time that was true. But when you are raising children and you are, a manipulator, you use emotional blackmail, guilt, whatnot, inadvertently, you will pass those traits and that behavior onto your children. And I think what happened is, I think the manipulator got manipulated. And I think that Wendy didn't ever really want to be with Dan. I don't think she wanted to marry Dan. I don't think she wanted to have children with Dan. And I think that she found an excuse and a reason to file for divorce, become the damsel in distress. I think she intentionally withheld that she stipulated that it would be that the relocation was denied without prejudice. That it was denied with prejudice. I think she intentionally kept that from her mother. I think that she whipped her mother up into a frenzy about they're never, it's denied with prejudice. Donna thought that there was time and that it wasn't over until it was over, and that there was still things that they could do to get Wendy back to South Florida, even though she never even wanted to be in South Florida with her parents. She didn't. And I think that Wendy is the type of person that will get other people to do her dirty work. Remember that line from My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Hold on, I want to finish this because I think it's important. Where the mom is telling the daughter, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck, and the neck can make the head turn any way she wants. I think that is the type of personality that Wendy possesses, and I think she learned it from her mother, quite frankly. And I think that I think there's evidence of that even just in her own testimony relative to the lawyers. Wendy characterized her the way that her behavior during the divorce as She never wanted to play dirty. She always played nice. She always played fair. And it was her lawyers that were doing this, that, and the third. Well, ma'am, you know it. I know it. The jury knows it. And all of anybody with a lick of common sense knows that your attorneys advise you, and you're an attorney yourself. So stop playing with these people. Your attorneys advise you. And we've seen where people can and do go against their attorney's advice, even other attorneys. For example, Alec Murdaugh, he was advised by his counsel, don't you haul your keister up to that stand, meester. What did he say? No. Bruh, I got this. Let me go and testify. It'll be fine. It was not fine. Okay. They exposed all manner of lies and shenanigans when he was up there on that stand. And that's why I think that the manipulator in this case got manipulated. Don't get me wrong. Wendy is guilty. Okay. They got the right defendant in the right chair for the right crime. But I think that she was manipulated and goaded into doing what she ultimately did by Wendy. Even if Wendy didn't say directly, let's murder him, I think what she did was manipulate Donna to come up with the plan so that she could have plausible deniability. And now she's all, but I am helping. I've helped and helped and helped and helped. I'm a helperton. Shut up, Wendy. All right, let's go.
Ms. Kappelman, did you find the information that you were seeking to
Yes,
elicit?
sir. I'm sorry I didn't have an answer for you. The cases had so many incarnations, hard for me to remember who knows what, but I am conceding the violation, certainly not intentional. I did not find it. Mr. Rashbaum did not depose this witness, so I'll move on.
Well, the defense requesting for the court to conduct a Richardson hearing.
It's not intentional. I would concede that. There are a lot of materials in here. I would just, if the state's going to move on, I don't think we need to inquire further.
Well,
Should I get the witness, Judge?
one moment, briefly, so the record is clean on this topic. I will find there has been a discovery violation with regard to the testimony of Jeffrey Lacasse on the subject matter of what was discussed with Wendy Adelson concerning any issues as to the children's memories. I will find this was inadvertent, as there have been, I believe this Kappelman is the 5th or 6th trial in this,
Only the 4th, Judge.
excuse me, the 4th trial that has occurred under this set of facts, and there has been a multitude of discovery or interviews or depositions of this witness, but specifically as to this defendant being able to depose this witness on this topic, that did not take place by prior counsel or current counsel. I will find it is trivial, and it has not had a prejudicial effect on the ability of the defense to prepare, since the state is conceding the matter and no further examination on this topic will take place. The court will give a curative instruction to the jury for them to disregard and not consider as evidence in this matter any testimony that has taken place concerning a conversation between Wendy Adelson and Jeffrey Lacasse as to the children's memories. You may bring in the witness.
Mark my words. When Donna Adelson is convicted, and she will be, in my opinion, this is going to be a issue during the appeal. Will it be a successful issue? No, I don't think so. I think that the judge ruled correctly, but I do believe it's going to be an issue. They're going to raise this issue on appeal. By the way, just as a side note, could you do me a favor? Could you give your girl a thumbs up on the stream? I'd really appreciate it.
You can come back to the witness stand, Mr. Lacasse.
Just for the record, I conferred with defense counsel about the decision to do a curative instruction, even though it sounded like they weren't asking for it, and it sounds like they're in agreement with that procedure.
That's correct, Your Honor.
I wouldn't know why you would have an adverse.
Well, there could be an argument that it draws more attention to the information, so I just wanted to make sure that their agreement was clear for the record.
Mr. Zelman, do you wish to have the curative or do you not?
The proposed curative is acceptable, Your Honor.
Very well.
I see once again Donna has chosen her yellow "I ain't hired no hitman, I don't even know why I'm here" sweater for the day. It does appear that her hair is washed.
Everyone can be seated. Members of the jury, before the examination of this witness continues, I am going to give you a brief instruction. The last objection that was raised by the defense, it is being sustained. You are to disregard any testimony that has taken place by this witness concerning the issues of any statements or any conversation he had with Wendy Adelson about her children's memories. You are not to consider this as a part of the evidence in this case. You may continue with your examination.
Thank you, Judge. Around this same time frame, I guess we're talking about maybe March of 14, somewhere in there, did Wendy Adelson, actually strike that. I'm gonna move on to the coffee shop meeting. You familiar with that?
The June 4th coffee shop?
Yes, sir, June 4th, 2014. Did you have plans prior to that meeting to travel with Wendy Adelson over the time frame in which Dan Markel was ultimately killed?
Yeah, that's right. And on June 4th, I had planned to see Wendy and the kids at her house that night. Middle of the day, she called me to sort of an impromptu meeting at Red Eye over on Thomasville, and she abruptly canceled our trip for reasons that didn't make much sense.
When was the trip scheduled to happen?
The 11th to the 17th.
All right, so you would have returned home actually the day before the murder
Correct.
occurred. Okay, and did she express concern about not being home in time to pick up the children?
Yeah, the reason she canceled the trip was I'm worried we're going to get
Objection to hearsay?
Sustained unless there is an exception. Ms. Katherine.
Goes to motive, Judge.
Overruled.
Don't care if they go on a trip or not. All right, sir, so the reason for not going on the trip?
The reason for not going on the trip was, well, it was tied up in a couple of things. First of all the stuff going on with Danny was a constant refrain. But given the stuff going on with Danny, she was concerned that she might not be back in time, even though our flight was to land the day before. And it wasn't, it's so odd to me. It wasn't winter. We're going through it. It's like LA to Atlanta to Tallahassee, leaving in the morning. I didn't see any real reason why that would be a problem.
She would have needed to pick up the kids on July 18th, right?
Yes, she knew that then. Their schedules were planned out for like months.
Okay, so you would have returned on the 17th, and she would have been picking up her children from preschool on the 18th.
Yeah, I think 5 p.m. on the 18th, which is why, I mean, I didn't object. I just said, okay, I didn't make a thing out of it, but it didn't make any sense.
Okay. And that, just for clarification, that conversation occurred on June 4th.
It did.
Okay, when was the next time you saw her after that coffee shop meeting?
Yeah, so that was mid-afternoon, and in the evening, I had plans to go see her and spend time with her and the kids. And then she had contacted me that she wasn't feeling well and I should like rush over there, essentially. She had a stomach problem, so I got there as quickly as I could.
All right, so did you go to her residence that evening?
I did.
And what happened when you got there?
Well, on the way there, I remember contacting her and asking her, do you want me to stop and get some stomach medicine or something like that, and didn't. I believe she told me not to. Once I got there, she hemmed and hawed a little bit, and then eventually I left because she was a complete anxious wreck. She didn't have the flu, she didn't have food poisoning. She was just a nervous, anxious wreck, and it was affecting her stomach. So after a little while, I drove to a nearby convenience store to go get her Pepto-Bismol, which I recall because I have a credit card receipt from this random convenience store a few miles from her house.
All right, so she was a nervous wreck that night, and did she tell you what the problem was or not?
No, there's no discernible. I couldn't figure it out. She didn't tell me.
Okay. All right. Was there a time when you were over at Ms. Adelson's residence and you observed that her TV was broken?
Yes.
Okay. tell me about that. When did that occur?
That would have been around the week of June 11th to 18th, somewhere in that time period. I went over Wendy's to spend time with her and the kids, and she asked me to take a look at the television. I turned it on. She said there was a problem with the TV, so I turned it on expecting to see like input 1 flashing, or the kids pushed the wrong button or whatever. And what I'm looking at when I turn it on is a screen that's been partially shattered, that's been struck by an object. So she had a broken TV.
All right, and did she tell you what happened to the TV, how it got into that?
No, she kind of asked me to look into the TV, as if she didn't know. I looked around. It was impossible to me that the kids would have done it, but I didn't know a better explanation at the time. So I was kind of mystified as to what happened. It looked like a human being stood, between 5 and 6 foot, something like that. It stood in front of it and hit it. That's what it looked like. But she was asking me.
Okay, so it was like an impact mark, like a round impact with spider webs.
Exactly. Then the pixels are distorted. Most people have probably seen this. So it's, and it wasn't completely shattered. You could sort of see what was going on the television. But it's not a TV anybody would normally watch.
Okay. All right, so let's move away from the TV for now. Was there a date that you had with Wendy Adelson on, gosh, have I gone backwards in time here? It was the day before her birthday. What was the date of that?
We were scheduled to have a date. The day before her birthday is April 21st. We were scheduled to have kind of a special date night that night. Wendy didn't answer her phone, didn't answer texts, and I got so concerned about her. A few hours after the date was supposed to have started, I just drove over there to check on her, knocked on the door for a while. She finally came to the door. Appeared to be intoxicated, and not just on alcohol. I mean, weary-eyed. I'm not sure what substances, but it wasn't good. She wanted me to stay, and I was annoyed enough that I actually just left. I didn't stay the night. So.
Okay, so I kind of got our timeline out of order, but some erratic behavior from her on April 21st and then again on June 4th.
That's right.
Okay. I'm going to approach and show you a text message that was sent on June 28th of 2014. And I've marked it as States Exhibit 141. Have you ever had a chance to review this text message before?
Yeah, you showed this to me last week.
All right, and this message had never been shown to you before last week, right?
Right.
And it's been testified that this was from Wendy Adelson to her brother Rob Adelson, but it concerns you.
Yes.
Is there anything factually incorrect in what Wendy Adelson is stating in that text message?
Well, when she says I haven't told mom and dad about me, I met them multiple times. It's impossible that they didn't know we were dating. For example, I was aware that Donna wasn't thrilled that I wasn't Jewish, So that doesn't add it. This doesn't make sense to me in terms of like seeing me for 6 or 7 months.
So in that text message, she's saying, that you're a secret boyfriend from the parents. Were you a secret boyfriend from the parents at that time?
It's implausible. No, I don't think so.
In fact, you'd met the parents several times.
Yeah, and had conversations with them, limited conversations, but conversations. And the other part that's, I think, really significant is the kids talked about me constantly. I have all kinds of text messages and emails where Wendy's mentioning the kids are down in South Florida talking about me.
Judge, at this time, I'd ask to move into evidence states 141.
Any objection?
Can I see that, please? No objection.
States 141 is admitted at this time.
Okay, I want to draw your attention next to a disagreement that occurred with Wendy Adelson on June 29th of 2014. Do you recall that incident?
I do.
Okay. And at that time, did you confront Wendy about some suspicions you had that she was seeing other men?
Yeah, that was part of it. That was the main part of the disagreement. I also had spent the last 2 or 3 months concerned that she seemed to be stringing me along.
Where did the fight occur?
The fight occurred in Gainesville.
Okay, and I say fight, it was a verbal disagreement.
Verbal disagreement, and argument's not even the right word. We just exchanged words, yeah.
Okay, and did that exchange of words lead to an awkward drive together back to Tallahassee?
It did, a very awkward drive back to
All right,
Tallahassee.
and that was,
That's the morning of it's the 29th or 30th. It's the 30th, the morning of the 30th.
morning of June 30th.
Yes.
Okay. And after you parted ways, once you returned back to Tallahassee on the 30th, what was the status of your relationship over the next couple weeks?
Yeah. Well, we left that, when I left on the 30th, when he was clear that it wasn't over, but it wasn't great that we'd had this exchange either. So over the next couple weeks, we had phone calls, text messages, video chats with the kids. My take was, seems like it's probably going to be okay, but I didn't know for sure. It did string the relationship out another couple weeks when it easily could have ended.
When was the next time you saw her in person?
July 13th.
All right, so about, I guess that's the Sunday before the murder, is that right?
That's correct.
And where did you see her?
We went to dinner and a movie. I picked her up at her house at Aqua Ridge. We went to dinner and a movie and then returned there.
Okay, well, we're on the topic of Aqua Ridge. I'm going to approach and show you what's been introduced in evidence. Is that in evidence, Mr. Kim? That was in the PowerPoint, so you're not gonna find it. All right, we'll circle back to Aqua Ridge. So we're on the disagreement, didn't see her for a while, saw her on July 13th. And you were at her residence. What was the plan for that evening?
I didn't know. It was just to spend time together and maybe talk about the relationship some, but we were conversing. We had conversations.
Were the kids there that night?
They were not.
Okay, so it was just the two of you at the residence?
Just the two of us.
All right, and did the subject of relocation come up?
Yes.
In what context?
It came up in the context of whenever Wendy got back from Miami, she was always very upset about the fact that the relocation had previously been denied. I mean, it had been legally denied, but she wasn't over it. It was a constant refrain about how much she hated Tallahassee. So we're talking about the future of our relationship, and I'm asking, are you going to be here? Because with the constant complaining about how hard it was on her parents to transport the kids and just the constant complaining, I was just thinking, is she even going to be here? Is it worth trying to push forward in the relationship? And she said the only way that I'd ever relocate is if something would have to happen to Danny.
Subject to the same ruling at sidebar. The objection is overruled pending the other matters that do have to be addressed. You may continue, Ms. Kappelman.
Please repeat your answer.
Yeah, the only way she'd ever be able to relocate is if something happened to Danny, was the first statement.
Okay, and did she mention anything further about something
Well,
happening to Danny?
Can I give the context before the next?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was getting a little tired of this whole drama around the relocation. And so I pushed back on Wendy a little bit and said, like, you're gonna have to kind of make your peace with this. You're gonna have to take some responsibility for this. You're linked to Dan Markel for life. Kind of challenged her a little bit. And she said, well, can I tell you something confidentially? And I said, sure. And she said, last summer,
Can I repeat the same objection or send the court's ruling?
Same ruling remains, the objection is overruled. You may continue with your answer.
she
Can
said,
I tell you something in confidence?
yeah, can I tell you something? After I challenged her, can I tell you something in confidence? Sure. Well, last summer, my brother looked into all options possible to take care of the Danny Markel problem, including hiring a hitman, and it would cost about $15,000.
Okay, and when she referred to her brother, she's got two of those, right?
She said Charlie.
Okay. And when she said Charlie looked into hiring a hitman, are you familiar with Charlie's joke? I looked into hiring a hitman, but got you a TV as a divorce present because it was cheaper.
Yeah, Wendy had told me that joke a couple of times. This was not that joke.
Okay, so this was something different.
Yeah, the joke was said with levity. It's a dark joke, but well, this I found chilling. I found disturbing. It made my stomach flip. It kind of took me aback. It was, she was dead serious when she
Okay.
said this, and she'd asked to tell me in confidence, which you don't do before you tell a joke.
Okay. So I want to take you to the next day then. So we're at July 14th, the Monday before the murder.
Yes.
Did you see Wendy Adelson on that date?
Yes, we had contact throughout the day trying to arrange some kind of date. It kind of ebbed and flowed. But she was real enthusiastic about seeing me at one point, and then like mid-afternoon, let's just meet at yoga is what was decided. So we went to yoga.
Okay. What happened after yoga?
Well, I was wondering why we were at yoga, because when he was being very strange, I felt like the relationship was over. She wasn't feeling well. I'm not a big yoga guy, so I didn't understand why we were at yoga for like 80 minutes, stretching. But then when we left yoga, we barely spoke, and I was just getting a vibe that this is over. Tried to talk about the relationship, didn't go very well. It was pretty clear to me. My internal thoughts were like, well, this is over. And she didn't want to spend time with me the rest of the week, so I just put my hands up like this. I remember this vividly, and just turned around and walked away.
Where were you when that was happening?
We're in the parking lot of Journeys Yoga over by Winn-Dixie.
Okay, so you have your two respective vehicles there and
Yes.
you're parting ways.
Yes.
Okay, what happens as you walk away?
Get about 10, 15 feet away from her, and she calls after me. I turn around, and she had a series of detailed questions about what I would be doing on Friday. I had a trip to Tennessee planned, and she wanted to know if I was going on that trip, and she wanted to know what route I would be taking. And if I didn't go on the trip, why wouldn't I go on the trip? And I answered the questions as best I could, but I was confused why, at that moment, she wanted to know the details of what I was doing on Friday, when she expressly didn't want to spend time with me on Friday.
Okay, and we now know that Dan Markel was murdered on Friday.
Yes.
Right? If you had taken the trip as planned, which is as you reported to Wendy that day, what would your route have been?
I would have left my house at about 11 a.m., which Wendy knew. I'd related my plan to her earlier in the relationship. Needed to get to Atlanta for dinner, and was worried about traffic and stuff like that. So I would have left at 11, and I would have driven down. I would have got to Capitol Circle in Thomasville, which is close enough to Danny's house that it kind of gave me the creeps. It was kind of weird. Yeah.
Okay, so physically, you're saying you might have been sort of consistent with how the killers fled town.
Yeah.
Okay, and after this yoga date and the discussion of your travel plans, did you get an email from Wendy?
I did.
I'm gonna publish what's been introduced into evidence as states 64 GG. Is this the email she sent you after the yoga date?
Yes.
All right, so is she breaking up with you? Is that clear?
No, she's asking, well, I consider there, like, based on our interaction, I thought this is over. I had told Wendy if she wanted to break up with me, she doesn't like confrontation, just send me an email or text. She sends me this, which strings everything out for another week. So she's not breaking up. I mean, functionally, that's realistically, I'm not dumb, I'm thinking we're over. But she's asking for another week, which brings it to the 21st of July. And I was puzzled. I wondered what in the world is going to happen July 21st. But I just didn't respond because she asked for no contact.
All right, so she wants to have no contact for a week.
Right.
Okay. All right, I was able to find that photo I was looking for earlier, 86A. I can show you that. Recognize 86A?
Yeah, that's Wendy's, Adelson's residence on Aqua Ridge, and that's what it looked like when we were dating.
All right. I think that there's something that needs to be said. Plus, I got to pause for fair use commentary. I don't have to do it as much, but I have to do it a little bit. Okay. I think what we're witnessing here on the stand is it's been 11 years since all of this happened. Okay. And the testimony, I do believe, is coming with a fair amount of hindsight. At this point in time, like currently today on August 26th, 2025, I think that Jeffrey Lacasse is acutely aware of the fact that Wendy pointed the finger at him. And I think he's acutely aware of the way in which she did it, which was, again, throwing the rock and hiding the hand type of situation. She manipulated another person, Jane, into talking about Jeffrey in the police interrogation room when the police were not in the room, and making it appear as though he was jealous and he had a potential motive because she had sent this break up, not break up email to him. So, yeah. And also, I think that it's highly odd. It would not work for me. Okay. I'm not trying to be judgy, but it would not work for me. If you want to break up with me, be a grown up and break up with me. You don't have to do it to my face, but at least a phone call. I'm not going to to me, breaking up over text or email or ghosting somebody just ain't cool. It's not how I roll, but it is what it is. All right, here we go.
Okay. Moving to evidence 86A.
Any objection? No, Your Honor. 86A is admitted at this time.
May I publish?
You may.
All right, so I blurred the boys' faces, but this is how the residents at Aqua Ridge appeared.
Yes.
And the kids' art that's shown on the wall here, was that present during the time that you were dating Wendy Adelson?
Yes.
Was it something that like art would come down, other art would go up, or was it pretty fixed?
It was, maybe some art would get added, but I never saw any come down until July 14th.
Okay, so Little Red says, glad to know he knew she was stringing him along. I think that when the stringing along was taking place, I don't think he knew she was stringing him along. But I think certainly after Dan Markel's murder, I think Jeffrey Lacasse had a whole light bulb moment. And I think he saw things much clearer.
13th, sorry, July 13th.
July 13th, you noticed that the art had been taken down?
We walked into the kitchen, and then Wendy was pulling art off the wall, the only time I'd ever seen her do that.
Okay. And I want to ask you about, I've nicknamed it the celebration dinner. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
topic? Okay. Could you tell the jury about that, please?
Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for hearsay. I understand the court's prior rule.
Objection is overruled.
Wendy and I reestablished phone contact about 10 days after the murder. She called me, and we had 3 or 4 phone calls. In one of them, she related that her and Charlie had gone to what Charlie called a celebration dinner, and at that dinner, Charlie said something to her. She didn't specify what it was, and she spontaneously vomited all over the table.
Are you aware, sir, that you were suggested as a potential suspect in
Yes.
this murder? Where were you when Dan Markel was murdered?
I was in Tennessee because I had left on my trip the night before.
So
rather
you
than
changed your plan.
I changed my plans at the last minute.
All right, and you provided law enforcement with some receipts and things to prove that you were in Tennessee at the time?
All that, and I got a flat tire, so I ended up getting videotaped at a Kmart. And I know the TPD used that to exclude me with the timestamp on the surveillance footage.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Well, I mean, yes, the Tallahassee Police Department did, wrap that up, but also Garcia coming in and
Did
spilling
you learn that the killers came to Tallahassee in June, not
the beans, excuse me, Miss Kappelman. The fact of the matter is, yes, they ruled him out early on, but they had everything that they thought they knew and ruled out was confirmed when Luis Rivera came and told everybody everything, spilt every single bean there was. Let me rewind it just a bit so we can go back and answer, so we can hear this question and answer totally. I don't like to be in the middle of it. So here we go.
at some point, did you learn that the killers came to Tallahassee in June, not just in July?
Yes, when the arrests were made and the documents were released, I learned that, yes.
And did you put together some facts about your travel plans that day that could have potentially made you a suspect on that trip as well if the murder had happened as
Yeah,
planned?
that Friday, I was scheduled to go to a business trip in Gainesville, leaving at 11 a.m. So 2 times in 2014, I leave town on a trip by myself in my car, and both times hitmen are in town trying to kill Danny Markel, once successfully, obviously.
Are you familiar with the type of vehicle that was originally rented by the killers in June to make that June trip?
I am.
Okay. And was that significant to you?
Yeah, I mean, this is long after this all happened. I'm learning this from court proceedings in 2016. But when I heard they rented a gray Altima initially, I had a 2004 Nissan Sentra. That freaked me out because that's about as close as you were going to get to my car on the rental market.
Right. I'm going to show you what I marked as State's Demonstrative Exhibit G. You recognize this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is this the make and model of it's not the actual rental car, but the make and model of the rental car compared to the make and model of your vehicle?
Yeah, my car's right on top. That looks just like the car I had at the time.
Permission to publish G, Your Honor?
I would say, Lil Red says, so he is telling us Wendy is lying. I would say, oh my, that is a very unfortunate but fortunate pause game from your girl. Yikes, Jackie. I think that, Wendy lied many times, but I also think what Jeffrey Lacasse is actually putting together is that Wendy was more involved in this whole situation, the planning and all of that, then she said she had no idea. She had many ideas, and I believe that she was far more involved than even some other people might think, because there are parts of the plan that happened that would not would that Charlie would not be able to pass to Katie, who passed it on to Sigfredo Garcia, but for Wendy. Wendy knew Dan Markel's schedule. Wendy knew that Dan Markel was going out of town the weekend that the day after they actually killed him, the day he actually died. Dan Markel was supposed to not be in town. He was supposed to be leaving for a business trip. Wendy knew that. And even if even if Donna is the one that relayed that information to Charlie, who then relayed it to Katie Magbanua, who then related it to Sigfredo Garcia, who then relayed it to Luis Rivera. But for Wendy, nobody would have known that. Nobody.
I have one more moment to confer, please.
And this is a fair point that Skyflash Media makes, who says, but he also had a vendetta and no proof Wendy said anything. Well, he has some proof of some things because he's got the email that she sent him. And he does have a bit of an axe to grind. I mean, he's angry, and rightly so, that she, that she tried to blame him for this. She okay, so let's be very clear about this. So Skyflash says Wendy didn't even mention him at the first interview, did she? Yes and no. How it actually took place is the law enforcement left the room. Wendy was in the room with Jane, her pal, and the victim's advocate, okay? And Wendy mentions to Jane that she didn't tell them about Jeffrey, them being the popo. So Jane starts talking about Jeff and that he was jealous and that she should mention this to law enforcement. So essentially, here's another, in my opinion anyway, example of Wendy's manipulation. Okay. Wendy mentions to Jane, I didn't mention Jeffrey. Getting Jane to then talk about Jeffrey and suggest, well, you need to tell law enforcement about Jeffrey and about how jealous he is, and you know how he can be, and blah, 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 okay? And so it appears as if Wendy is only mentioning this because Jane suggested it, when it was actually what she wanted to mention the whole time. But she needed a backdoor way to get the information in. Because I think if she had just said straight out, look, I just halfway broke up with my boyfriend that I didn't really claim, but I kind of claimed whatevs. And, maybe you should be looking at him. See, doing that, it sometimes will cause the cops to be more suspicious of you. She knew she had to mention Jeffrey Lacasse. She couldn't not mention him, right? But she also couldn't be too eager to mention him at the same time. Very complicated.
No further questions, Judge.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor, just a moment.
Now you knew. Yes, Jane dirty too, in my opinion. Isn't it, Lola? It's weird how Lola says it's weird how okay he was with her being a sociopath before he realized she was trying to
Morning.
frame
Good
him.
morning.
That changed
Dr. Lacasse,
everything.
Jeff is fine. Mr. Lacasse is fine.
Lacasse. I want to say his name
You
correctly.
testified that it was your understanding that my client, Donna Adelson, was aware of the motion that the state has called the grandmother motion.
Okay, just really quickly, and then we'll move on from this subject. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. She did. Justified said she had to introduce him as a possible suspect, but didn't want to mention all the details of their relations. I do think she had to introduce him as a potential suspect. I do think she also wanted to mention all of the details. This is what I think. I think that she needed to be the distraught, this news has just hit me. And so if I'm forgetting things, please excuse me. I'm shook. I'm all the way shooketh. And so Jane is in there to quote unquote jog her memory. Do I think Jane knew she was in there to quote unquote jog her memory? No. I think she bamboozled Jane too. I think Wendy is highly, highly, highly manipulative, and she is a sneaky snake. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me rewind that because
Aware
this is important.
that you testified that it was your understanding that my client, Donna Adelson, was aware of the motion that the state has called the grandmother motion.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how she took that?
It was I'm hearing this stuff from Wendy.
Okay.
Um,
Well, do you know how she took it?
I mean, I wasn't there to observe her reaction. The whole family was upset about every one of these motions, was my impression, information coming from Wendy.
Okay. And so the only person that you spoke with about how the family took things was from Wendy?
Putting Charlie's,
Aside from Charlie in the hospital,
aside from Charlie in the hot tub, it was all through Wendy. That's correct, sir.
isn't it true that you found Wendy, let me find the exact quote.
I think there is
You
something
find Wendy to
about
be a
Wendy.
deeply deceitful person?
Hold on. I want to answer Skyflash, who says there's something about Wendy. I do think there's something about Wendy. And I think the something about Wendy is that she's very, very good at being the damsel in distress. All right. Hang on a minute. Let's rewind this a little bit.
Didn't you find Wendy to be a deeply deceitful person?
Yes, depending on the topic. I mean, that's true. But a lot of the stuff she told me about her family was later released in evidence. I'm talking about the kids getting.
Your Honor, I'd move to strike that response.
Stay. Mr. Lacoste, you are only to respond to the question that you are asked. Members of the jury, the portions of the answer that were non-responsive you were not to consider. You may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. You yourself do not have any personal knowledge as to how my client, Donna Adelson, took the grandmother motion, do you?
No.
Isn't it true that you only had limited small talk with my client, Donna Adelson?
That's correct.
You mean Donna didn't cue Jeffrey over here into the murder plot? I think that's a correct assessment, Lord.
Now let's talk about the damage to the television that you observed in June of 2014. Can you tell us again how you described that?
Yeah, there was a spider web pattern, like in the center of the screen, and it radiates outwards. Anywhere it's been cracked, it will pixelate. So you can see what's going on, you can track it, but it's not pleasant, and you would never watch that TV. And we watched a whole movie on that TV at Wendy's insistence, which was why I remember this. It was a very strange evening.
Didn't you suggest going to watch the movie on another TV?
Yes, I did. There was a perfectly good TV in the other room. That's correct.
And she made a fuss.
I tried to respect Wendy's boundaries, her house, her kids, so she didn't have to make a fuss. It's an awkward situation dating someone who has, 2 kids, so I'm not insisting on anything. But the kids were whining about the broken TV. That is correct, sir.
Made it difficult to even really watch or enjoy the movie.
That's right.
Could you tell us about how big that impact was?
Fist-sized.
Adult or child?
I don't remember with that precision.
You testify.
Hold on a second. This is just a little humor from me. Hold on. Look how many eyes the closed caption gave. I. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, closed captioning.
Testified, let's see, about a statement that Wendy Adelson said to you on July 13th of 2014, that she wanted to say to you in confidence.
Yes.
And it was that her brother looked into hiring a hitman.
Her brother, Charlie.
Her brother Charlie.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Just a moment, Your Honor.
I'd just like to point out that this trial, much like Charlie Adelson's trial, all roads lead to Wendy. Charlie basically blamed Wendy. Don is blaming Wendy. And I think there's a reason for that. Not only, obviously, it's strategy for the defense. They had to point the finger somewhere else, right? But I think it's because the road does lead to Wendy.
Step down, Mr. Lacoste. Please
That-
call your next witness.
That does not negate Donna Adelson's culpability at all. Well, let me see who they called. And they're also, by the way, switching up the order in which the witnesses are called. All the witnesses that are testifying this morning were scheduled to testify this afternoon, and vice versa. So I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I missed it, and I don't think I could even if I rewound it, I couldn't understand it. So let's see who's next.
Don't tell me she's lost the deal. To all bailiffs, United States Marshals, the FBI, please track down our next witness.
No, I think it was a scheduling issue. Low red. Tess, I'm not exactly sure what's going on financially with the Adelsons because I would imagine the
Bailiff, please
trials
take the jurors to the restroom.
are I mean, preparing for trial, and hiring attorneys ain't cheap. Okay. Um, but I think that, um, I think they're okay. Do I think they are as okay as they were before all of this? No.
We'll resume at 10:25. Mrs. Adelson, if you need to use the restroom, the bailiffs will assist you at this time.
Let me scooch it forward. See where we're at. All right, here we go. See, this is why it's important to take a break and do commentary. So then you don't have to sit through these uncomfortable silences. Donna's husband was in the courtroom this morning, Lil Red. I don't see him now. He was seated over in this vicinity, but they just came back from break, so we'll likely see him again. But he's been there. There's mentor lawyer. Hi. I like to watch mentor lawyer deep dive true crime because um, he's covered this case since it happened for years and years and years. He is also an attorney, and so he has insight. He's a Florida attorney too, so he's got insight into Florida law, and also because he's there, in person at the trial. And I am so very, very curious about how the jury is receiving all of this information. If like, are they taking copious notes, or are there some witnesses where they're sitting and listening versus taking the notes? Are there, witnesses where they're taking copious notes? I like to know the demeanor of the jury because I am a nosy and I like to know all the things. And you can't really get that obviously from the stream because they can't film the jury. So, I like to watch deep dive true crime. And yes, he's feeling the vibes in the room, and that's huge too. It is. It is. And I have been told by people who have covered true crime, covered trials, and then gone to these trials in person that it's very different in person. And it is my hope and dream that I will be able to attend a trial in person. Let me be very clear about this. I would like to observe a trial in person. I do not want to be sitting at the defense table. I would not be opposed to being a juror, although I really don't think they're going to call. I really don't think I would get picked. Just because of me having a YouTube channel, me covering true crime, me following all of these cases. I think that I would be good for the prosecution, but bad for the defense, which actually, if I don't know a whole lot about a case, I'm good for both sides because I can listen objectively. I don't think that I will tell you this. Thus far in this trial, as it stands right now, yes, Low Red, I have not heard evidence that directly links Donna to the murder of Dan Markel. Okay. What I've heard a lot about is a lot of testimony about the dynamics that existed in the family, about how angry Donna was that Dan Markel would not relocate, how I've heard all of that. And I don't know about any trial, Nessie. I gotta be fair. I think it would be, I think I would be deeply, deeply apprehensive to go to a trial about a murdered child. I do not. There was a time when I could have handled that a little better, when I could have compartmentalized that a little better. But I think at this stage of the game in my life, I don't think that I could compartmentalize it in a way to be, that I would be able. I think it would mess me up. I do. I mean, I think I could get past the being messed up, but I think I'd be messed up for a minute.
Next witness.
See who they call. Oh. Oh, I know who this is. This is one of Charlie's exes, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
You may take your seat. Please speak loudly and clearly so you can be heard. You may examine.
Hi, what is your name?
Hi, my name's June. I'm Chinda.
Will you spell that, please?
The first name is June, and the last name is Umchinda.
Where do you live, ma'am?
I live in Boca Raton, Florida.
Do you know Donna Adelson, the defendant in this case?
I do, yes.
How do you know her?
I was Charlie Adelson, her son's ex-girlfriend at one point.
Okay, when did you date Charlie Adelson?
I dated him in 2015 to 2017. I met him after the murder.
Okay, do you recall what month in 2015 you began dating
It
Charlie
was
Adelson?
October.
And then broke up in what month of 17?
In June.
Okay, can you describe for the jury what the beginning of your relationship with Mr. Adelson was like?
Well, in the beginning, him and his family were not being investigated by anything, so it was just a normal relationship we had. Everything was great.
Did you describe it as a fairy tale?
I did.
Had you met his mother?
I have.
How many times did you meet his mom?
Not more than 5 or 6, I would say.
And when you met her, was that at family events or what type of events?
Some family events and some weekends or dinners or just get-togethers.
Did you notice during the time you spent around Donna Adelson that she was very involved with her grandchildren?
I did notice, yes.
How close was she to Charlie Adelson?
They were very close.
Okay, worked together?
At times, Charlie worked at many offices, so when he was at his office, yes.
Okay, because there was a family business as well that he was a part of, right?
Yes.
And Donna Adelson worked at that business?
I believe so at times.
Okay, and did they speak on the phone daily?
Yes.
Did it seem like Donna Adelson was in control of the family?
In control, like, can you describe?
Like the
What do you mean?
matriarch of the family. She was the one that everyone looked to be in charge.
She played a motherly role, yes, in the family.
Bruh, hold on a minute.
I-
She played a motherly role. She was literally the mother. What are you talking about? What? Here we go. I can tell I'm already going to be annoyed. Here we
I
go.
have.
Let me
What about her
rewound.
children?
Let me
Played
rewind.
a motherly role, yes, in the family.
Did you meet Wendy Adelson?
I have.
And what about her children? Did you meet them?
I have, yes.
Were you and Charlie Adelson living together during the time that you were dating?
Not officially. I had my own place, but I had a key to his place, and we were together 24/7 since we met, so
So basically living together.
yes.
During what you've described or previously described as the fairy tale phase of your relationship with Mr. Adelson, was he suffering from any anxiety issues?
In the beginning,
Yes.
just stress from work, the normal day-to-day.
Okay. Did he come across as angry during that time, the fairy tale phase?
No.
Okay. During that portion of your relationship, what did you know, if anything, about the murder of Dan Markel?
I had no idea who Dan Markel was. I've never seen the case in the media. I just know that when I asked Charlie about his family, he advised me that his brother-in-law was murdered and shot in the head in the garage, and they don't know who did it. So that's all I knew. It was pretty short.
Is that a topic that came up one time or more than one time?
It was one time when I asked him about his family in the beginning when we were dating, getting to know each other. And then obviously throughout our relationship, it became a bigger topic.
Okay, but during the fairy tale phase, was it a topic that would come up regularly, like what's going on with the investigation and wonder who did it, that sort of thing?
So the fairy tale phase, that was before the investigation, before they suspected him or his family. So no, it did not come up, just that one time.
Okay, and did you previously say, did you have a law enforcement interview in this case?
I did. I did not know I was being recorded, but yes.
It was recorded, though,
I was,
right?
yes.
You had a chance to review it?
Many times, yes.
And in that interview, did you say for court and counsel, page 50, lines 19 through 23, quote, like they weren't ever curious, like who really killed him, they weren't upset about it, it seemed like. Did you say that?
If it's there, yes, I said that.
All right, and then there was a time, which, are you familiar with the bump in which law enforcement approached Donna Adelson posing as a gang member or a
Yes,
criminal?
ma'am.
Okay. And in that, after that bump, did everything sort of change in your relationship with Charlie Adelson?
During and after, absolutely.
Okay. And that law enforcement operation that I'm referencing occurred April 19th of 2016. Is that something that he reported to you? Were you aware that that happened with his mom?
No, definitely not.
He didn't say
Not
anything?
during the time.
Okay. When did you learn about that?
I might have even learned about it from 2020 or something when we watched it, or he told me later on
Okay.
after the fact.
So although you were inseparable at the time it happened, he didn't mention it to you?
No.
In what ways did Charlie Adelson's behavior begin to change around that time?
Around that time, I noticed he wasn't sleeping. He was up in the middle of the night. He was very extra stressed and anxious, worried, depressed. Overall, he became depressed over time.
Right, and at some point, I guess you learned through the media that Charlie was under investigation for potentially having a role in the murder of Dan Markel. Is that right?
I learned from a reporter that thought I was Katie that came to the house, yes.
And do you know around what time that was?
I believe it was like May or June when Luis Rivera got arrested around that time.
Okay, and once you learned...
Or I'm sorry, Luis
You did learn some things from the media about this case. Was there something that stood out to you about how the hitmen said they were paid?
I did read the affidavit and everything, which said Lewis or somebody mentioned they were paid in staples, like bundles of
And-
cash with staples.
And why
in it.
did that stand out to you?
Because I noticed that Charlie stapled his money, or he had money that was stapled.
Okay, so you had seen that in his residence before?
Right after I read that, so after I
After you-
found out that the money was stapled.
After you found out the money was stapled, you saw the stapled money?
Or no, sorry, let me think. I can't remember the exact moment, but I know when I saw the money, a red flag came up, and I was like, after the fact that I saw it, I was thinking, oh, I think Lewis said he got paid in some stapled cash, and I mentioned to Charlie that he should just put a paper clip in it. Instead, we talked about the staples, so.
Okay, but you had seen, before learning that the hitmen were paid in stapled money, had you not seen stapled money in Charlie Adelson's residence?
Before the hitmen were paid?
Yeah.
I didn't know Charlie back then when the hitmen were
I'm
paid.
sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, before you learned that the hitmen were paid in stapled money, which you learned from the media, you had seen stapled money in Charlie Adelson's residence.
It was after, because when I saw it, I was thinking to myself, that's strange, the staples, and then it clicked. So it was after I saw.
She's having a bit of a hard time conveying what she means, but let's take this opportunity to remind everybody about Charlie and
After you saw the article or the TV broadcast, you then observed it in his
After I
residence,
found out.
and that's when it
Yes.
clicked.
Yes.
Okay. And the stapled money that you saw was $100 bills stapled into $1,000 bundles, is that right?
Yes.
And there was quite a few of them that you saw, right?
Right.
Okay. During the time between, I guess, the few weeks before that article was published, so between what we now know was the bump and when all of this came to light, did you notice Charlie beginning to communicate more with Katherine Magbanua?
I believe I saw like a message from her, or they were on the phone once or something like that. I asked him about it.
Okay, did you previously in your law enforcement interview indicate that you saw him going back and forth with Katie on the calls, like, and I said, oh, why do you guys talk so much? You remember that?
I do. So I was referring to the episode where it shows him and Katie going back and forth on the calls. And then I told Charlie and said, like, you never talked to me like that. So I was wondering why he talked so much to her.
Isn't it
At that
true
time.
that you noticed him talking to her at odd hours prior to the media broadcast?
No, that was all in regards to the episode that I saw, that they showed him talking to her at odd hours.
play her interrogation interview. I'm tired of this. This feels like she's changing up her story. I think her interrogation video is the correct information. I know that Georgia Kappelman is a very thorough attorney, and she absolutely would not be asking her this question if that's not what it is that she said in the order of events in which it happened. Also, hey, Donna Mike, good to see you. It's been a minute. How you doing? Roll the
I don't
footage.
remember telling law enforcement that it was weird because he didn't wake up early, and you saw that there were on the phone the times that they were talking and it was like 7 or 8 and you thought, oh, that's odd?
No, I did say that, but that was in the episode. I told Charlie that I thought it was odd because we don't talk that way, and he said we live together, so.
Okay. Have you described him as being paranoid during this time frame?
Yes.
Okay. And did he talk to you during this time frame about believing his phone was being tapped?
Yes, a lot.
Had you ever met Katherine Magbanua?
I met her briefly she worked at her front desk dermatologist office that I went to. So before I knew Charlie, I met her there.
And was, at the time that the law enforcement operation occurred, the time frame we're talking about, was Katie his most recent ex-girlfriend?
No.
Who was the most recent ex-girlfriend?
Before me, it was someone named Whitney Kick.
Okay, so she was in between you and Katherine Magbanua.
Yes.
Did you ever know of Katherine Magbanua working for Charlie Adelson or the Adelson Institute?
No.
All right, and then when you mentioned you were still with him at the time that Magbanua was arrested, did his erratic behaviors get better or worse at the time of her arrest?
It was worse.
Okay, and can you describe those behaviors for the jury?
Well, it was a lot mixed with what I said earlier, the no sleeping, depression, and our whole relationship just took a big turn, and I wasn't sure why. In the beginning, he was just acting strange and would go to his friend's house, and our routine kind of got disrupted, and I wasn't sure why. So it was just like I knew something was going on, but I didn't know exactly what the problem was. So
All right. Did he become angry, short-fused?
at certain times, he would.
Okay, and I'm particularly talking about this time frame around Katie's arrest and just after that. Uh-oh, trip chair. Around the time right after Katie's arrest, is that the time frame where these behaviors escalated?
Right, yes.
Okay. And did, particularly when the case or the investigation came up, is that something that would make him angry?
Not really angry. He had different emotions every time it would come up, so.
And was one of those emotions anger?
At some point, sometimes, yes.
And did you say he would get really red and screaming and take random walks, just acting like a crazy person?
He would at times, yes.
Did he get a second phone and maybe a third phone during that time?
I saw one more phone that he got, and then it disappeared, so it was just a short period of time he had another phone.
At some point during this time frame, did Charlie Adelson begin communicating with you via WhatsApp?
He did actually when he went to Asia, because it's like, I guess you can talk to anyone in the country on WhatsApp, so he thought it was easier that we spoke there.
Was he only communicating with you via WhatsApp when he was in Asia, or did he do it when he came back?
We just developed the habit after he got back. We just spoke on there all the time.
Do you know if he was communicating with Magbanua via WhatsApp?
I don't know.
Did he start keeping a bag of clothes by his bed around this time?
I saw him keep a change of clothes one time or a few times, yes.
Did he sleep with a gun around this time?
He always has guns around because he has his license to carry, so he didn't physically sleep with the gun, but he has one in his nightstand and all over the place, so.
What about Wendy Adelson? Did you notice an issue between Charlie Adelson and Wendy Adelson during this time frame?
I wasn't too involved with them, but I did notice one time they got into an argument.
All right, and did he tell you it was a fight about this case?
He just said that it was something about the case. Yes.
Okay, do you remember exactly when that was?
Not exactly. I don't know if I should guess or not. but-
No, please don't.
Okay.
So, was there a time frame where Wendy and Charlie were not speaking because of some type of a disagreement about this case?
Yes.
What about Donna Adelson? Did her behavior change at all around this time frame that we're talking about?
So I wasn't around her a lot, but when I did see her, yes, she was upset.
Okay, and did you describe her as a mess?
Yes, if it's there, yes.
What does a mess mean?
Just like mentally upset and physically drained or not their usual self.
All right, was she crying when you saw her?
At a point in time, yes.
And did Charlie Adelson advise you that she was taking painkillers for stress during that time frame?
Yes.
And was there a time when you were on the balcony of Donna Adelson's residence and she made a statement to you about Dan Markel?
We were speaking about Dan because the case was such a big thing at that time, yes.
Okay, and what was the statement she made?
Well, her life was crumbling down in her family's life, so she said everything felt like Dan was haunting her from the grave or them, I don't know. Whatever it says there.
She feels like Dan's back from the grave, like haunting her or something.
In reference to that, yes. I don't, yeah.
No further questions?
Cross-examination.
Thank you.
Please remain seated. The attorneys for the defense are not examining. No comments.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Did Charlie Adelson make a statement to you about Katherine Magbanua's breast augmentation?
After the 2020 episode, he made a statement and joked about it, yes.
What did he say?
He was saying they were thinking that he paid for the whole thing, and then he said, like he said he paid for one or something and laughed.
Only paid for one of the breasts, half of the work.
Right, but he was laughing, so it was just a joke.
Okay.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning.
My name's Jackie Fulford, and I, along with Josh Zellman, we represent Donna Adelson. I've never met you before, correct?
No, never.
Okay. I just really have a few questions. there's been some discussion in your direct examination about what you might have told law enforcement during an initial interview, correct?
Correct.
And you were told that that was not being recorded, correct?
Yes.
And that whatever you said wasn't going to be used, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you gave a lengthy interview then that day.
Yes.
And at the time that you did that, you were broken up with Charlie, correct?
We were going through a horrible breakup at that time, yes.
Okay. You've previously said that Charlie's really good at persuading people. He lies and he makes it believable. You recall that?
I do.
I want to talk about the cash for a minute. He had a lot of cash, right?
From what I saw, I don't really know his bank account, but
I'm just talking about the cash that you saw.
yes.
Okay. And you've testified, there seems to be some confusion about whether you knew that before you saw it come out, that it was stapled, because I thought you previously had said that when you saw in the article that Luis Rivera referred to being paid in stapled cash, that a light went off in your head because you had previously seen Charlie had stapled cash, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and he had it stacked in $100 bills, in groups of 1,000. He'd put 10 together and he stapled them, right?
Right. I didn't see him staple them, but
you
they
saw
were
that it was-
stapled already.
You saw that it was stapled, correct?
Yes.
And he had a safe in his room that he kept money in,
He did.
and it was a very large safe, correct?
He had guns in there too, so it was large.
And I think at one point you told law enforcement that it was about the size of a refrigerator, right?
Right.
Okay. So you did an initial interview, you've been deposed, you testified in Katherine Magbanua's trial and in Charlie's trial, right?
Right. This is my 4th trial.
Okay. So I have the transcripts from each of those. And you testified on direct that you didn't think the Adelsons, referring to all of them, you didn't think they were curious about who had killed Danny and what had happened. Do you recall telling law enforcement that?
Right. At that time, it seemed that way.
Okay. And didn't you later say that you were really just speculating about that?
Yes.
When you testified, let's see, when you testified in Katie Magbanua's second trial, referring to this statement about attributing to Donna that she said those words about Danny coming back from the grave and haunting her, in Katie's second trial, you actually kind of came off of that, didn't you?
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you say it again?
Yeah, sure. When you
Lost train of
testified,
thought.
so you originally made that statement to law enforcement. You used those words.
Yes.
He came back from the grave, haunting her, something to that effect.
Right.
Okay. But when you testified in Katie's trial, didn't you say that those weren't the exact words that she said? She was just very upset, and to you it came out like that. Didn't you testify to that?
What's the page and line, please?
Let's see, it would be page 1196. Well, it starts at line 3, the questioning, but the answer is lines 14 through 16. I don't know, like, if they were those exact words, I think she was just so, like, stressed out and upset that that's how it came out. That's what you testified to, correct?
If it says it there, I don't remember Katie's trial because it's been a while, but if it says it there, then that's what I said.
And you were testifying under oath then, correct? Every single time that you've given these, I'm sorry. You were under oath, correct?
I'm sorry?
Please answer out loud to all questions, just don't nod your head.
Oh, okay.
Because the court reporter can't put down that you're nodding your head.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the answer was yes, you were under oath.
Yes, I think if it says that, then yes.
Well, you took an oath here today before you started testifying, correct?
Yes.
And the other trials, you did the same thing. You swore to tell the truth, right?
Right.
Can I have just one more moment, Judge?
redirect examination?
No, Your Honor.
Is the witness released?
Yes.
You may step down at this point.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Please call your next witness.
State calls Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may take your seat. Please speak loudly and clearly.
Sir, please introduce yourself and spell your name.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, R-Y-A-N F-I-T-Z-P-A-T-R-I-C-K.
Sir, do you know the defendant in this case, Donna Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know her?
She was Charlie's mother.
Okay, were you friends with Charlie?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the time frame that you all were friends?
Probably 2013, 2014 to 2019, 2020. I can't really.
Okay. And during the time y'all were friends, were you like best friends?
We were very close
Acquaintances?
friends, yes, ma'am.
Close friends. And based on your knowledge of Charlie Adelson, was he really close with his mother, Donna Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
And also with his sister, Wendy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How did they feel about Dan Markel, if you know?
I'm gonna check, no, they haven't laid a foundation as to which person. They doesn't describe anything related to my
Without
client.
disputing objections, please sit down.
I'll re-ask the
Sustained.
question. How did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel?
Didn't like Dan.
Okay. And Charlie, did he have a lot of girlfriends?
Yes, ma'am.
And was Katherine Magbanua one of those girlfriends?
Yes, ma'am, she was.
Is that somebody that you ever met or hung out with?
I believe once or twice in passing, but didn't, like I've testified before, didn't pay any attention to Charlie's girlfriends.
Okay, so she didn't stand out to you as anything special among the crowd?
May have looked like the others, but no, didn't stand out to me at all.
You hear that, Katie? You hear that real good? Look what you did. And for what? You weren't stand out and you weren't special. Damn.
Are you familiar with Charlie Adelson's practice of how he keeps his cash?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And how is that?
Stapled money, 10/100 equals 1,000. I've been paid by stapled money by Charlie Adelson before. That's how I know.
Okay. And when the murder of Dan Markel occurred, was that during the time frame that you were really close with Charlie Adelson?
No, ma'am, it was prior to us growing closer as friends.
Okay. When you did grow closer as friends, did Mr. Adelson mention the murder to you?
It wasn't discussed. Dan wasn't a topic of discussion. There was no, nobody, it was odd because it wasn't.
Okay. So you were aware of it, that it happened?
Yes, ma'am. It was,
Okay, but nobody talked about it?
no, ma'am.
Okay. And are you familiar with the law enforcement operation that's been referenced as the bump, where Donna Adelson was approached on the street?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. And did Charlie Adelson talk to you about the bump? His mom being
yes,
approached?
ma'am.
Okay, and prior to that, had Charlie Adelson ever mentioned being harassed or extorted or anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so when this happened with his mother, did his demeanor change? How was he acting about this incident?
Charlie became agitated, nervous, anxiety. I guess looking back now, guilty, just abnormal.
Okay. Did he ever make a statement to you about murder?
He made the statement at one time that you could get away with anything if you keep your mouth shut. And implied murder.
All right. After the arrests that occurred in this case, and I'm referencing the 3 suspects that were arrested prior to him, did that impact his behavior, demeanor around you?
When the others were arrested?
When the other arrests occurred?
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. That behavior continued to increase.
Okay, so he was anxious, would you say?
More needy. Charlie talked a lot, and he
In
talked a lot
general?
about it. Yes, ma'am.
And he talked a lot about what, those arrests?
Charlie would talk about something repeatedly, almost to help himself believe something, or to talk to you till he was blue in the face, until you were almost so tired of hearing it that you were like, oh, okay, and you believed it. But
Okay.
it was nauseating. It's tiring.
He was a talker.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is it fair to say that Charlie was not stressed out at all about the murder or anything related to this case prior to that law enforcement operation?
From my understanding, yes, ma'am.
And after that operation, based on your observations of him, he became very upset and worried about this case.
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
One moment, please, Sky Flash, and I shall look it up because I can hear the song in my head. I'm in love with Mary Jane. She's my main squeeze. Do you love me, Mary Jane? Rick James.
I've never met you, but we spoke on the phone once, and then you.
Hold on a minute. It's Rick James. I thought it was Rick James, but I wasn't sure, so I wanted to Google just in case. It is Rick James. I'm Rick James, bitch. All right, here we go.
Did a deposition, you recall
Hold
that?
on a minute. She's introducing herself, which I always love, so.
Morning, sir.
Lauren?
I've never met you, but we spoke on the phone once, and then you did a deposition, you recall that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
The deposition was recently, I think August the 14th, you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
I think you appeared by video,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay. When you gave your deposition, you indicated that you barely know Donna Adelson, correct?
I didn't know her like I knew Charlie, no, ma'am.
And you've been around her many times,
Yes, ma'am.
and she was always nice to you.
Very nice.
She and Harvey were pleasant to be around.
Very pleasant.
You knew Charlie very well, as you've testified,
Yes, ma'am.
and you were friends,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
But that ended, didn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was an ugly ending.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ooh, spill that tea.
You said you were very good friends with Charlie. Were you familiar with the cash that he kept in his house?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he keep it stapled?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, $100 bills, 10 of them, so 1,000 at a time.
Yes, ma'am.
He had a safe in his house, and that's where he kept his money, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Kind of had some issues. I think my co-counsel was asking you some questions in your deposition, but the bottom line is you have a feeling, and that you say that it's known that the Adelsons didn't like Dan Markel, but you couldn't give us a specific comment in your deposition that Donna Adelson ever made. It's just well known, correct?
It was implied, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. No further questions.
Direct examination. You may step down. Will the witness be recalled at any time?
No, Your Honor.
You are released, sir. Have a good day.
Look at it. Don't
Please
even.
call your next witness.
Rude.
Mary Hall.
Mary Hall.
We need to speak to her first. We were provided with some information before today or to report.
Speaking objection.
It's not a speaking.
Hold on, stop talking.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
To the jury.
Ah. Aw, Kelly, she loves, do ya, do ya, do ya, do ya, do ya love me, Mary Jane? Let me just say this, y'all ain't gonna get that anyplace else but the Ward case studies. Whether that is a good thing or a bad thing, I leave that
Student,
entirely
if
up
there's
to
a
y'all's
topic that needs to
discretion.
be addressed,
But it is
please ask to
unique
approach,
to the
because
ward.
gratuitous statements need to be made in front of the jurors.
And I should not have made those comments. I apologize.
You need to speak with Ms. Hull before she testifies.
We do, Judge.
Uh-oh.
State you need to be heard concerning this. Yes, sir. Very well. How long will it take to speak to Ms. Hull about this matter?
It should not take long, but maybe 15 minutes, Judge?
For scheduling purposes, I think for direct, maybe about 45 minutes to an hour. I'm not sure about cross, so whatever the court would like to do with that.
All right, let's put the jurors then on early lunch. During
What?
this time, the defense can speak with Mrs. Hull about any topics that you need to prior to her examination. Please bring the jurors out so we can put them on the lunch break. That's fine.
Ah, thank you, Creative Minds. I had forgotten about Miss Mary Hall. Miss Mary Hall is the accounting investigator, and she has learned the defense attorney has learned some new information and therefore needs to request or has requested some questions.
Members of the jury, we're going to take an early lunch break today. Once again, I'm going to remind you of the instructions that you have received before, not to discuss this case with each other or anyone else. If anyone attempts in any way to speak to you about this case or talk to you, please make sure you report that matter to the bailiff so I can deal with it appropriately. Also, during the lunch break, do not look at any information about this case or any of the news reporting. Again, you may eat together if you choose to do so, but the only prohibition is discussing this case. We will get started again at 12:35. Please make sure you have reported by 12:30. Enjoy your break. We'll resume at that point.
You did host a fun time, Sky Flash. I appreciate that, babe. You guys are doing great. Oh, I did?
Well, this should give the defense an opportunity to speak with Mrs. Hull.
Wait, what?
And have your midday break as well. Does anything else need to be addressed?
What?
Just one thing, Judge. The state is going to present a PowerPoint presentation during Mrs. Hull's testimony, and I do have an objection, a hearsay objection to slide 38. It's a text messaging conversation between Harvey Adelson and Charlie Adelson, and Harvey's statements would be hearsay, and that was ruled on yesterday as well.
And may I respond, Judge?
Go ahead.
Let me pull up the slide just a moment.
So we don't even get to hear the questions?
And it was also a statement.
I got it, babe. Thank you, Sky Flash.
14th of 2012.
So Judge, I believe the court has seen this before, but I can also provide the court with a copy. Slide 38 is a text message exchange between Harvey Adelson and Charlie Adelson from 2012, where they are discussing having a large amount of cash. And I plan to ask Ms. Hull, did the family keep a large amount, or did the family keep cash? Did they have access to a lot of cash? Did they have, did they give cash discounts at their dental practice? And this is an example of them taking whatever, okay, taking whatever cash that they did receive and keeping it as opposed to depositing it in the bank. And so I do think that it's probative and more more probative than it is prejudicial.
I believe the objection is hearsay, not that it's relevant.
Okay. Yeah, let me see. Harvey is the one making the statement.
I like Judge Everett so much. He don't take no crap.
I mean, okay, so the statement is.
Yes, Don, I do.
And talking about there's no tax advantages for a large gift, except that he has too much cash. But we're not proving it to prove he has too much cash at that time. We're using it to prove this family keeps a large amount of cash outside of, banking institutions. They have a lot of cash, and that would be relevant to them having a large amount of cash at the time that these payments were made.
She was, Violet. I played it, babe.
For the truth of the matter asserted, but rather a separate line.
Not for the truth of the matter asserted in these messages, but rather the fact that they had cash in general and kept cash out of banks.
And that is for the truth of the matter asserted, Judge. She's trying to use this, a hearsay statement from a person who's not a party to this litigation. There's an argument in Charlie's trial, but here, this is not about Donna, and they say they're not using it for the truth of the matter asserted, but then she turned around and said, we're using it to prove they had a lot of cash. So they are using it for the truth of the matter asserted.
What would be the other issue that is being offered forums given if it's not for the truth of the matter asserted? As Fulford is making a good point.
I think that if it were for the truth of the matter asserted, it would be that he has too much cash on this date and there's no tax advantage of this gift. But we're using it to show that they keep a large amount of cash outside of banking institutions, that they have a large amount of cash in general. That's just the distinction I'm saying. But the statement is, I have too much cash.
Splitting the hair is pretty thin. On that matter, I'll reserve a ruling for now. Do you have a copy of slide 38 that I can review?
Yes, sir. I'll be right back with it.
You know, Creative Minds, that's a good question. Creative Minds asks, do we know if Charlie was ever investigated by the IRS? He mentioned the IRS and some of the wire calls. I don't actually know. I really don't. Um I don't. I'll try to find out though, because that is very interesting. And also, Violet, um, did you know that allegedly Sarah Boone was on the show Double Dare? I played a clip from the show that she was on, which wasn't Double Dare, it was something else. And now I can't think of what the name of the show was that she was on, but I think that there might be a clip somewhere of Sarah Boone on Double Dare as well. Meanwhile, the courtroom is cleared, except for Harvey. He's very loyal to that Donna, I'll tell you. There you go, Sarah. Legends of the Hidden Temple or whatever it was. It was after. Sarah Boone is my age, okay? She's like 10 months younger than I am. She was born in 10-10-77, and I was born 1-28-77. So she's a little, younger than me. But
Stegan, you can have your slide back.
I didn't watch that show. Honestly, I don't know what I was doing in that time frame. There's some years in my teenage time that are a little hazy.
This does predate the conspiracy, at least as it's been alleged during this trial. Additionally, as to the discussion of cash and it flowing from one party to the next between the two Adelsons, as to that, it cannot be offered for the truth of the matter asserted. It is hearsay. The non-hearsay basis that it's being offered for, again, Ms. Dugan, is what exactly? That's unrelated to the money specifically.
Can you say the last part is unrelated to what?
What is the unrelated aspect of this exhibit that's unrelated to the money that you're offering it for?
Right, I mean, it is related to the money. We're trying to establish that they keep a large amount of cash, they don't put it in banks, and they transfer it from one family member to another.
All right, that.
Transfer it via just giving it to them, as opposed to putting in a bank,
You may question Investigator Hull concerning what she learned as a result of going through the financial records, but as to the slide,
He's not going to let it come in.
objection unless there is another basis for which it's being offered, not the truth of the matter asserted. Well, that is our break at this point. Please return at 12:30.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. See, I would think that okay, so Kelly says we are a hair too old for that show, Jen Lu. And I would have thought Sarah Boone would be, because she's our age. I mean, we all know when her birthday is. She loves to say it all the time. Even when she's asked her name, she answers with 10-10-7-7. Because she doesn't listen. That's part of her problem. I feel like Kelly, I don't know that she got slimed, but I do feel like because I feel like they won the Double Dare and they had to go the question and answer round. So they went to the, what did they call it? The the obstacle course. I think her and her partner ran the obstacle course. And I do remember seeing her go down the slide that was it was made up like a banana split with the whipped cream and the chocolate and stuff and a cherry, I think. But yeah, that I do remember. You watched it, Donna? I just didn't watch that show. So, I don't remember it. I don't remember that show. Who knows what the hell I was watching at that time. All right, you guys, this is where I let you go. I'll be back later tonight. Okay. Allie and I are going to do commentary over on her channel tonight. If one of the mods could please drop Allie's YouTube channel, her link in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. We'll be over there this evening commentating over Letitia's last calls. All of the calls are out. There is a playlist on the channel. My channel has them all in order. Everybody's are on there of the non-commentary. Tonight we'll do commentary. After the commentary is over at Allie's, I'll come live and we'll talk about Miss Hull at the forensic accountant, because this is where now we're getting into the evidence that connects Donna to this to the conspiracy. And we're going to talk and now it's now this is the financial aspect, which is really where Donna shines. See, Charlie had a habit of stapling money. Donna had a habit of writing checks, 44 to be exact. So we're going to get into that tonight. All right. And it's good that it ended up this way, because her testimony isn't going to be too terribly long, about 45 minutes on direct, probably less than that on cross, maybe more. I don't know. I'll have to see. But forensic accounting tends to be a little drier testimony. So this way we can get through it a little faster, plus whoever else they call this afternoon. You guys have a great rest of your morning, and I'll see you guys tonight. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.